I am Dr. Robert Sawyer. Thank you very much for choosing to teach with TAL. In this short video, I would like to just cover a few of our guidelines and to go over a few pointers with you for this particular lesson. So let's get right into it. First of all, I'm going to just cover some general guidelines, things you probably already know, but at the same time, we need to refresh these things. And then the next part of the video will be going through the various slides in this lesson, the different sections, the time limits for each section, etc. And then at the very end, if you could please, as a matter of protocol, click on the link that takes you to a Google form and complete the form for us for our records. We really appreciate your time and your help in making sure that our quality assurance department is satisfied. So thank you for that. So let's get right into it. As far as the general guidelines, please keep in mind that these lessons are simply reinforcement activities for the students. All of the grammar and all of the vocabulary has already been covered. So you're just reinforcing what they've already gone over in class. Now, this particular lesson is divided into 9 sections. The first section is a warm-up. Then you have a body. The body of the lesson is 7 sections. One of those sections is a mock PET exam. This mock PET exam is provided as just as an example of what students may encounter when they take the PET exam. Now, if you're not familiar with the PET, I would like to encourage you to look it up. It is a Cambridge exam. It's a proficiency exam. So please look that up and become familiar with the PET. And then finally, the last section of the lesson is, as you may imagine, a closing or a summary section. Before the lesson actually begins, we would like you to log on about 5 minutes before the start of the lesson and make sure that the connection is set up and working properly. We don't want any time to be wasted during the lesson, doing sound checks and this sort of thing. 40 minutes for a lesson is very short given the amount of material that you're being asked to cover. So anything that detracts from that time we don't want that to happen. So you'll want to make sure that the connection is set up properly, and you'll want to make sure that you can hear the client, hear the classroom. In other words, their microphone is working properly. And you'll also want to make sure that they can hear you. Make sure that their speakers are working fine and that your microphone is working as well. So, give yourself about 5 minutes before the actual start of the lesson just to make sure that these things are set up properly. We truly appreciate that. As far as the general guidelines are concerned, some of these things that I'll be saying to you are probably don't need to be said. They're just a refresher, reminder, and some of them are just so we can check our boxes to make sure that this information is being given to you. Just a few general do's and don'ts, if you will. Now, as far as engagement is concerned, we ask that you try to engage the full classroom as much as possible. Now, what that leads to is a lot of shouting out of answers. Yeah, so students will be shouting out answers, and you'll be trying to hear them, and it can get a little bit hectic. But essentially, that's kind of the point. All of the students should be engaged as much as possible. Be active, active learning. Give them something to remember. Give them something that's fun for them. Remember, they're kids. They want to be able to, bounce around and use some of that energy that's stored up in their little bones. So we encourage this type of activity, this interaction. What we do not like to see, however, is the opposite of that in that engaging individual students. If you engage individual students, this leaves everybody else out. I know that in a regular classroom, we can easily pick out a student and get some personal interaction going that is a sort of role play for the rest of the class to observe and follow. But in this type of venue that we're doing here, unfortunately, we can't do that. We have to engage all of the students as much as possible all the time. So please try not to call on individual students. Just try to engage the group as much as possible. Next, we ask that you please do not engage the venue teacher or the classroom teacher too much. Try to limit the amount of time that you're actually speaking with the classroom teacher. You're there to talk with the students and to get the students to interact with you as much as possible. Now, it goes without saying, but smile, be friendly, have fun. The students are there to reinforce what they've already learned and to have some fun doing it. Give them something to remember again. Now, again, just a couple things that I probably don't have to mention, but I'm going to anyways, and it has to do with positivity. You'll want to always maintain a positive attitude and a positive outlook. You'll want to avoid negativity. What I mean by that is never say anything negative about China, nor about your own home country. Now you'll probably never be asked about these things, but just in case you are, please understand that talking about religion and politics is forbidden. We don't allow this at all. So, and again, they'll probably never ask, but just in case it comes up, just avoid any questions dealing with these two things and refer back to the lesson itself. Okay? And finally, we ask that you please don't mention any social media websites or any external websites at all. These types of things are left at the discretion of the school and their classroom teachers. Okay, now that wraps up everything that we need to cover in the general guidelines. Now let's get right into the lesson itself. As I said, this particular lesson is divided into 9 sections. Each section is timed, and within each section are a certain number of slides. I have provided you with a PDF guide that you should read and you should maybe print or have on your desktop so that you can refer to it during your lesson. Because in each of the slides, because the guide goes over what should be talked about in each of the slides, you just very basically, maybe 1 or 2 sentences for each slide, just to help you with the flow of the lesson. Now, I won't go over each of the sections at this point, because you do have the PDF. However, I just as an example, I'll cover sections 1 and 2 with you very quickly. And then please, again, refer to the PDF guide so that you have an understanding. And essentially what it is, it's your lesson plan. And in your lesson plan, it gives you a step-by-step guide of what to do in each part. Okay, it's to make it easier for you, really. So, as an example, for section 1, we recommend that this be done within 3 minutes, and it is only up to the first 3 slides. The first slide is just an introductory slide. There's not really anything on it. As slides 2 and 3, as the warm-up, they help to introduce the student's brain or thinking to the past, okay, so that they can relate back to the past. So in slides 2 and 3, just simply ask the students to look at the shapes that are provided and to think what they can draw using these shapes. Something from the past, not something from the present. Okay. Again, the material they've already been exposed to, so it should trigger in their head something that they've already seen. Okay. So when you end up drawing the old style bicycle, this isn't new to them. They've seen this. And then as a follow-up to this, ask if the students can remember some other old stuff. If you want, you can remind them of things such as a radio or record player, or old camera, etc. There's lots of old things, maybe old cars, old washing machines, whatever you can think of. And again, this is just to trigger their memories, okay, and to get them thinking in English and thinking about the past, okay. Then again, try to keep it to 3 minutes. And then the next section, section 2, we recommend 7 minutes for this particular section, and it's for slides 4 through 10. And in this section and the next section, in fact, are the longer sections because it covers the majority of what we're trying to accomplish in the lesson. Okay, so for instance, on slides 4 through 8, they are going to take a look at what grandmother did in the past. Okay, so what you'll do is you'll quickly read through slide 4 and move to slide 5, because slide 4 is just the introduction to the section. Yeah. And then read slide 5 and ask students if they can think what life was like when their grandmother was young. So what you're trying to do is make the lesson relatable for the students. This is very important to give them something they can relate to. Okay. Then on slide 6, ask students to read and match the short paragraphs with the pictures. Then on slide 7, ask the students to answer the question and tell you which picture and which paragraph helped them answer the question. And the same on slide 8. Okay, and then on slides 9 and 10, compare things Grandma did or had with what the student does and has. So again, we're making it relatable. So now we're transitioning from just grandmother to now how it relates to students. Okay? So on slide 9, ask students what they do if they don't have internet at home. I'm sure they do other things. Maybe ride their bike or play games, do some other sports activities, etc. So what you want to do is try to get the students to just shout out some answers and be active about their responses. Okay, you'll probably hear a couple things pretty clearly in all the shouting that will most likely happen. Try to just pick out a few things and just repeat them back to them, and just positively reinforce what they're saying. Oh yes, good, that's great, good answers, everybody. Okay, and then after they calm down a bit, then move on to slide 10 and remind them that Mike's grandmother, again in the slides, Mike the character, drove a car when she was 9 years old. This was in one of the previous slides. And ask them if they can drive a car, or if they think it is okay to drive a car when you're only 9 years old. And of course, the vast majority are going to say no, or at least we hope so. But again, at this point, there are no right answers. Okay. Now, again, this would be the all of section 2. And please, again, refer to the PDF for all of these the sectional information. It gives you the time and gives you a guide on what to do in each slide. And then finally, when you finish the lesson, please make sure that you thank everyone, congratulate the class, end on a very positive note, and smile and let them know that you're looking forward to seeing them in the next lesson. Thank you very much for watching. Good luck with your lessons. And please don't forget to click on the link and respond to our online quality assurance form. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.